Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Henry. I am a decent distance from home, probably like 350 kilometers away from home. This is Otter Lake near the town of Princeton. And it's actually quite a few kilometers out of town from Princeton. This little area here, it's either called Tullamin or, what's the name of that? Colmont. It's just outside of the town of Colmont. So, I don't think this is a party lake, but we're just here for camping, hanging out for, I think, 4 nights. And obviously I brought my dive gear because it is a lake. We'll see what's going to happen. I don't think it's a party lake. In fact, technically there's no boats allowed on here. No motorized boat allowed on this lake. But I've already seen a few speedboats. I don't really know what that's all about. And all of the cabins here, all on the side, everybody's got docks. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, at the time of filming, I haven't posted anything on YouTube for quite some time, for about all 3 weeks for sure. And the reason being is because I've just been taking a mental health break. I have been diving, I just haven't been posting videos. So, we'll see what happens when I get in the water here. Sorry that I haven't been posting content. It is what it is. Here comes a boat. Oh, that's that little boat. I helped the guy push the boat into the water, just a little skiff. I did tell him to watch out for our bubbles, so I don't know if he'll pay attention. All right. Karen's with me. Laura, my wife, is with me. She's at camp. Karen's just getting suited up. And yeah, we'll get in the water and see what happens. As soon as I ducked my head under the water here at Otter Lake, I realized this is not going to be a great dive. As you can see here, the visibility is rather poor. I did have my scooter for this portion of the dive because I figured I'll cover more ground. But after scooting for 5 minutes or so, basically I couldn't see past the end of my scooter. So what I had to do is sort of crank the throttle for a second, drift forward, and then try to see if there's any trash, and then burp the throttle again, slowly moving forward, like one click at a time. It was really, really difficult. And so eventually I ended up stowing the scooter. You can see here I'm no longer getting pulled by the scooter because the scooter is actually stowed under my right arm. Brought up my dive light so thought I could try to see better, and I really couldn't. You can see here I really couldn't see any garbage, and I had no idea what I'm looking at, in the sense of the visibility is so poor. I've mentioned in previous videos before, the GoPro is actually very, very good at picking up low light, so you're seeing a lot more than what I can see. So shortly after this, I basically called the dive and started scootering back towards the shoreline, and I saw that Karen had exited the water as well too. Wow, that was it was a good dive in the sense of nothing went wrong, and no gear failures, water was perfect, all that stuff. The problem is that the visibility was so poor, I couldn't see anything. Anyway, I couldn't find any garbage at all. I tried really hard, but Karen got some stuff, and here's the bag that she's got. So that's the bag of trash. So there's some bottles and cans and such in there, and a towel. We'll weigh everything and document everything back at camp. And now time to go enjoy the lovely rest of the afternoon. Temperature was actually perfect. It was only 17 degrees in the water. Oh no, sorry, 12 degrees in the water, and average temperature, so it was quite lovely. But man, this is a pretty little lake. I don't understand the whole thing about motorboats aren't allowed on this lake, but yet there's motorboats everywhere. There was a pontoon boat that went by earlier, and ski boat. Yeah. Anyway, all right. I'll see you back at camp. The kids just love Karen. So here we are at Otter Provincial Campground. Let me show you our setup. So Karen is in her van across the road from us. This is a lovely campground, by the way. I don't know how many pads there are. There's at least 43, because there's 42, there's 43, and there's the road, and one is on the other side of that junction. So this is our pad. We're at pad number 41. So this is my new setup. I think longtime followers would have recognized this from the first time I showed this off, was that last year at Pavilion Lake. There's Laura, there's Karen. Got my dry suit kind of drying there. So the reason I got the bowler and sold my pop-up camper, my four-wheel pop-up camper, is because this way the dive spot is nowhere near this campground. I can't just walk into the lake. So basically all my dive gear is in the back of the truck, and all I do is unhitch, and then that way my base camp is here, and then I've got my dive gear, and I just moved over. Karen loaded her gear into the truck, and then we just drove to the dive site, which is that way. So, and then tomorrow we're going to go even further. Tomorrow or the day after, we're here for 4 nights. We're going to talk to the camp post, and just because there's a very low amount of trash here at the spot, we're going to see if we can get to the day use spot, which is 5 kilometers away from here. So the whole point of having everything in the back of the pickup truck and be able to unhitch and move with my dive gear is this is kind of why I did it this way. There is a downside. There's a few campgrounds such as Cat Lake, Weaver Lake, and Sayers Lake are not places where I can drag my trailer, the bowler, into the camp spot. So I lose access in the sense of vehicle accessibility with my camping setup, which means I have to have a different setup. What I was thinking about is I was going to do, so I've got basically a kit for tent camping, except it's not going to be in a tent. I'm going to be setting it up. Well, I haven't got a tent yet, but I'm thinking of one of those like shelters, like one of those pop-up shelters, so that it deploys in 60 seconds, one of those deals. That's what I was thinking. Anyway, when I get there, I'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, this is my new set. While Karen and I were diving, Laura was actually very busy. Look at it. She set this whole thing up. She's got the guy wire or guy line to kind of stabilize things. She's got her little hippie flags, prayer flags, and then she likes to have her little LED lights. But I'm messing up the ambiance by having my dive gear drying. But in the meantime, I am going to count the number. There's not very much trash, but we're going to weigh it because that's the thing to do. Okie dokie. So here's the trash that I'm actually displaying this right in front of our campsite. Because I just figure, you know what, this is a cool opportunity for people to learn about trash in the lakes. Day 1, 8 pounds of trash removed from Otter Lake. So there is the towel, sock, 1 plastic cup, and 5 bottles. But look at this bottle here. This has got to be cool, right? I mean, look at how neat this bottle is. Very unique lip there. There's the marking on the bottom. I don't know what the P looks like. It says PLM. I don't know what that would mean. There's no labels or anything on here. But man, that's cool looking. So that's pretty cool. That's day 1 done. And obviously we're going to hang out at camp, have some fun. That bottle was super, super cool. I'm definitely keeping that one. And now we're going to chill for the evening, crack a beverage, and enjoy ourselves. But in the meantime, the ladies have taken the kids for a walk around the park. And I'm here to watch out for the base camp here. I'm really impressed with how Laura set everything up here. Everything's tied down, and because it is a little bit breezy, which is nice because it'll keep the bugs away. All right, you guys. Talk to you later. Had a lovely evening hanging around the fire. This was actually filmed before the fire ban kicked in for the province of BC, but we were able to sit around the fire, cook our dinner over the fire, and had a great time chit-chatting with Karen. And yeah, what a lovely day, and we were looking forward to another dive tomorrow morning. We are going to head off nice and early just to avoid the heat and any kind of boat traffic. Good morning, everybody. It is the next morning, day 2 of our potentially 4-day trip here. So we've pretty early in the morning. It's 7:15 right now, and we've driven away from the campsite, and the campsite is behind the camera. Let me show you guys. So this whole thing is Otter Lake. There's a pinch point right there, and the lake gets bigger and roughly the same size on the other side of that pinch point. So it's a pretty decent sized lake, and it's 5 kilometers from here to the camp, which is on the other side of the pinch point. So decent amount of water here. So this is the day use area of Otter Lake, part of BC Parks. So this area here is BC Parks, and then the campground on the other side is BC Parks, and everything else is private property. So yesterday we had no success, so I thought, you know what, let's come down here and dive in the day use area and see what we can find. Usually day use area, that's where I'm parked right there. It's a short distance to walk with our dive gear. So usually day use areas will find a little bit more trash. So we'll get in here and see what we can find today. Maybe we'll find more trash. So yesterday, not having had a great dive, I was really hoping for a much better dive today. Much better dive in the sense of better visibility and perhaps finding some trash. It's always fun to find trash or interesting trash because I don't know what I'm going to find. But obviously, it'd be really cool if I didn't see any trash either. So ducked under the water. I was actually very pleased to see the visibility is a lot better on this side of the lake. I did have to make my way through this really nasty patch of weeds. I think those weeds lasted between like 0 to like roughly 10 feet of water, 10 or 12 feet of water. And once the edge of the weeds here is roughly like 15, 17 feet of water. So as soon as I clear the weeds, started to see like some golf balls and some random pieces of trash, like a few beer bottles, beer cans, and so on. I was told by the local later on, like after my dive, that there's one of the families there likes to go and hit golf balls into the lake. So a lot of this trash here, you can see the beer cans are badly tannic stained. That's because they've been there for a very, very long time. And just really spread out the random beer can, beer bottle. Didn't really find too much else as far as interesting trash in this section. I did actually run into some fun stuff a little later on. Here's a snorkel. I'm basically inside the swim area, inside the BC Park boundary. There's a rope tied to something. And then I ran into a boat engine. I was super happy to see this because I consider that interesting trash. So what I had to do is basically, so this actually is much shortened as far as time lapse goes, because what I had to do is take my trash bag, move it away from this engine because I didn't want to silt out the whole area, and then I wouldn't be able to find my trash bag, and then attach the lift bag to the engine so I can get it out of the water, and then go back and find my trash bag. It was a lot of effort. So and then I shot that to the surface, and then as soon as I did that, I saw this artifact, and I don't know what that is, but it is related to ice block making, because that was the thing that the Kettle Valley Railroad did in this area, is to harvest ice blocks. So I grabbed the 2 shovels, and I discarded that other piece of trash that you saw, and I don't know what that is. I wish I did actually hang on to it, but my hands were really full, so I guess I'll have to go back and see if I can find it. So here I am towing the lift bag with the boat engine. There's the 2 shovels. These were so corroded and fallen apart that I really didn't end up keeping them, because if they were in better shape, I would have tried to donate them to like a museum or something. And so I pulled the engine back to shore and then decided to continue on with my dive. But then as soon as I ducked underwater, I ran into this. As soon as I saw it, I knew what it was, because I did actually recover BC Park's Chilliwack Lake buoy, and this is obviously the exact same one. This is kind of their swim boundary marker. So the first thing I had to do is figure out if it's actually attached to anything. You can see me handling the chain, and luckily that chain wasn't actually attached, which was interesting. So obviously this thing developed a leak and just sank to the bottom there. There's the end of the chain. And basically now I'm not swimming with any of this. So basically I had to grab my lift bag with a little bit of trash in it, and then the boundary marker, and then swim all the way back to the beach. And then that was a lot of work, because this thing is massive in the water, and I'm basically moving this entire volume. I basically got my workout for the day there and hauled it back to the beach. And then, that was a really, really fun dive for me. All right, day 2 of diving, a little bit more successful. I haven't weighed it yet. We're going to weigh it in a second, but here's the cans and bottles we got. things of interest is this kicker motor thing. Not a kicker, this is probably just a small engine for, it's an Elgin. And then I found the BC Parks boundary marker. That was a no Otter there. And these shovels apparently belong to the railroad. There's because the Kettle Valley Railroad is right there. And this is back in the old days. According to the local that helped us, Bob and Joan that live right here, apparently there used to be a track that runs across to the cookhouse that was right there. And that was a long time ago. We needed a drill bit because this thing was full of water. So I went up the road and asked our local, his name is Bob, and he drilled a couple holes so we could drain the water out because we couldn't physically move that thing, it was so heavy. And then, so yeah, these shovels actually belong to the railroad up there, and there's one more down there, and then Karen found a bunch of things, artifacts that would probably belong to the railroad, is actually that way. Was it too heavy to bring out?
Oh, it's solid metal, yeah.
Oh, so okay, yeah.
Cylinders, yeah, solid metal, heavy, very.
She said it looked like cannons.
Yeah, two long ones.
Huh. So maybe we'll have to come back and figure out what that is. But anyway, there we go. We're gonna weigh everything and then get the final weight.
Prescriptions are
but they were over outside the swim area.
Folks, man, so much fun to kind of visit with the locals. They kind of tell us a little bit more history about the area, as well as they're always so amused and so grateful to see us pulling out trash. So that's pretty fun. Anyway, 133 pounds of trash pulled out of Otter Lake here. I didn't see any otters, but what a beautiful area. I think we'll definitely come back. Well worth it, and do a little bit more exploring. We are going to camp for a couple more days, but that's it for the diving portion. I think I'll wrap it up for filming as well to enjoy the rest of the time with my wife before she gets mad at me. All right. Thank you to my Patreon supporters, and thank you for Pacific Pilsner for sponsoring the dive, and thank you for Lime Bike for dive logistics for coming out and helping us as well too. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. So you guys, this is so cute. So we had some trash and our signs displaying here at our campsite that we're at. We're camping inside the provincial campground, right? So we're here for 4 days, and I decided to leave the trash out on the side of the campground, and with our signs that said that day 1 removed 8 pounds of trash, day 2 removed 133 pounds of trash, and it displayed the beer cans and so on and all that stuff, right? So some kid left a note for me. I saw her actually, I didn't know what she was doing, and I saw her right away on her bike, and she left a note that says, "Dear scuba people." That's what it says right there. "Dear scuba people, thank you. You are amazing. Thank you for helping our planet. You are awesome." And she drew little hearts, and her name is Serena, or I think that says Serena. And then some kid, "P.S. I love turtles," and then she drew a picture of a turtle on there. It's just the cutest thing. Oh my god, that's precious. I'm totally gonna keep this.